Hi, my name is Kevin. I'm back to help you with a housing plan. So we previously just took a quick look at what we would need to do to kind of get the basic information all in place to begin searching for your best options. So if you haven't done that, go back and take care of all those options. Just those quick questions in this section. Most of them are yes or no, besides your monthly income in the last question. So get all that done. If you haven't done it, then come on down and we're going to start working on this long-term housing plan. So what we're going to use is the Albuquerque Coordinated Resource Guide. It's at abqcrg.org, and the place we're going to go to is in the housing menu and the first option, housing navigation. So as we take a look at this, you can go ahead and pull up this housing navigation chart with me. And what we're going to do is narrow down what options are going to be most likely to work out for you by looking at your income level. So there are three columns here. We've got federal designations and descriptions of what they are exactly, but you can look at the income levels here, and this first one is 0 to extremely low income. You can see what those ranges are, and then so on and so forth for these other columns. The lesser income on the left, the greater income on the right for individuals or families, and you may have to click on these links to find out what it would be for larger families. Okay, so let's just say, for example, that your income was in this category. So these are all the options that are possible for you depending on your situation. So the next thing that we're going to do is look to see if you fall, or the person you're working with falls into any of the specific populations, and that's below the navigation chart. So you go over, scroll down a little bit, and you're going to see that specific populations: Native American, CYFD case with family. High use means high use of services, jail, emergency room, recovery services, veterans, seniors 62 and over, a verifiable disability that interferes with your ability to work. You're literally homeless, meaning that you're living in a car, on the streets, or in a shelter. You're at risk of homelessness, meaning that you're still leasing, but you're getting behind on your rent or near eviction. You have HIV or AIDS, or you're experiencing some form of intimate partner violence or abuse. Okay, so circle any of those, or take note that if any of those apply. We're going to use that in a minute. And then the next thing that you're going to want to do is, if the person that you're working with or you yourself are disabled, or you're unable to live by yourself, you're going to just need some help with that, then you want to make sure and only choose, especially if you're unable to live independently, then you're going to want to choose only those options in the tan band over here. You might want to only choose those. But if you have a disability, you can choose any of these, but it may give you some specific opportunities if you do have a verifiable disability. So keep that in mind. Okay, so the next part is definitely the longest and hardest part. So you want to do a little bit of research at this point. So we've really identified kind of some of what your opportunities are by income, maybe disability, and by specific populations. So you're going to go into those options now, and you're going to start taking some notes. And the things that you're going to note the most about is which options are actually open at this time, and what the length of wait list are. You may have to ask some questions and get some ideas on it. So you're going to go through all your possible options and find those things out. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it will definitely pay off. So don't get discouraged. This is the hardest but the most important part of the process. So take the time to do that. Employ some help if you need it. Okay, the next thing that you can do, once you've kind of listed out what the different wait lists are, start deciding on your top option. So I'm just going to give you a for example. Let's say that one of your options was this. You went into this, and by the way, you can click on these. It'll just take you to the lists of things. Was in the HUD 30% subsidized list. And by the way, in the Coordinated Resource Guide, these lists are organized in the shortest wait list in the beginning, and then the longer list as you go along. So if you're going through and you've identified some of these short wait lists, you're going to want to take a look at those, especially write down those, maybe even call to confirm, because some of these updates maybe aren't as soon as you'd want them to be. And then also start taking note, like this plan says, of what some of the things are that are going to affect your options a little bit more, like whether or not you had a felony or eviction recently that could be an issue according to that particular property. If they're going to need a birth certificate, or if they're going to need a social security card, make sure you have all the IDs and documentation that's needed. Make sure that if there is a deposit required, you're going to be able to get that, and that your income level is sufficient for that particular property. Okay, so just kind of read through the details to make sure this might kind of narrow your choices a little bit more. But you're now just kind of really zeroing in on what the best options are. Okay, so, and again, like the 30% subsidized properties are in order of the most available to the longer wait lists, and so are the other lists in this housing navigation chart. As you click on these different things, most of them, or a lot of them, are organized that way, especially that 30% subsidized list. So, but sometimes you may have to just ask the particular housing authority or property how long the wait list is. Okay, so now that you've kind of organized all that, you've decided what things you're gonna need to get in, you want to start deciding on your top approximately 5 options. It's always advantageous to apply to the ones with the shortest wait list first, and to apply to multiple ones. Even if you have in 30% subsidized, say 3 or 4 options, and they're similar in length, it's always good to apply to those 3 or 4. What's going to happen is they're going to move up at different rates, and one of them is going to come to, you're going to rise to the top of one of those quicker than another. So that is going to be a distinct advantage. I've done that recently with many different people, and the difference in signing up to one and doing one application for one property and 5 is almost always a significant difference. So that's a key piece of the strategy here that you want to make sure. And then in the meantime, make sure and get those deposits together, those IDs, whatever else they need. So you're just finalizing your list down here and writing out those options. So that's how you get this long-term plan together. I know it's a fair amount of work, but it's definitely worth it. And again, like I said in the last video, imagine what would happen if you didn't do anything for the next year or two. I've talked to those people. It's terrible to think that they could have done a little bit of work, a few days of work, and been off the streets, been out of somebody else's home, been in a much better situation because they took the time to plan and organize things and get some help. So the next thing we'll do, if you feel like this would be helpful, we're going to show you how to create a short-term plan, places to go while you're waiting for your long-term plan to unfold and for you to move to the top of those lists or whatever it is that you're waiting on. So shelters, transitional housing, how to use all these different resources to sort of manage a place to go in the meantime. So it's been good working with you, and look forward to your success in finding housing.